up in here. Ladies and gents, I want to I want to start off the call with some special recognition. We have two superstars that have done the It Takes Two promotion and taken advantage of it. And I believe it's the second time that they both have done so. So give a special shout out to Merle Westcott, who did the It Takes Two promotion this week, and then Michelle Rankin Mayer as well. Congratulations to the two of you getting it done, hitting those results, make it happen, captains. Super amped up and excited for the two of you all. And if there's anyone else that did or has achieved the It Takes Two promotion and we don't know, please let us know who you are so we can definitely shout you out as well. But again, congrats again to Michelle Rankin Mayer and Merle Westcott. Well done and well doing. Keep on keeping on. So wanted to have a conversation with you all. And one of the things that I try to do is, there are certain conversations that there's a leadership level that you have to be at in order to have the conversation. And then there are other times where I really like to open it up to the group as a whole. And we have been looking at this pandemic over the last several weeks, and everybody has their way of dealing with it and coping with it. And here's what we all have to appreciate and understand. Everybody has their way, and you can't know what someone is actually thinking. People are going to present themselves to you. So there's three types of the individual, okay? There's the person that I want you to see, the person that I am projecting out into the world. There's the person that I am perceived to be in the world. And then there's the person that I really truly am, okay? And when you're dealing with the work that we do, a lot of times people are going to be very good at presenting a certain persona to you, and it's not always going to be 100% authentic because they don't want to come across as weak, or they don't want to come across as struggling, or they don't want to come across as less than. Well, usually it's one of those three things that keep people from being their most authentic selves, even in all of the beautiful imperfection that exists. And because of that, there's a lot going on that you may not know about. People may be having greater struggles than what they're alluding to, because we all are accustomed to having a face that we project to the public, okay? And part of this journey and the work that we do, it's about getting in alignment so that your mind and your words and your heart and your belief are all in one, okay? They're all in alignment, all right? That's the focus that you want to do. Okay, Michelle, sorry about that. So Ms. Westcott, you're on your own this week, but that's all good. Michelle, we're speaking that into you. We're gonna claim that for you for the week coming up, or you might do it today before the week is out. Who knows? So it's about getting in alignment with that, so that who you are is who you are in all instances. So if you were to listen to some of the conversations that I have privately, you would hear me saying the same things that I say to you all when I'm here. If you were to watch me deal with challenges and handle various situations, you would hear me having the same talk, the same thought process that I share with you here. It's the same when nobody's around. And that's the goal. You want to be in a space of alignment, okay? It's not about perfection, it's about authenticity. There's no such thing as perfection. You can always better your best. There's always another level that we can aspire to, okay? So because of the dynamic of COVID-19 and the various restrictions and impact on people in terms of employment or businesses and income, it is really having a different level of effect on people. And there's some principles that are important for all of us to really embrace as we're going through this, so that we can always have that, I like to call it real talk, real talk conversation with ourselves and with each other, with our prospects as we're building and all of that. Number one, duality is a part of universal law. So you cannot have positive without negative. You cannot appreciate beauty without things that are ugly. You cannot have good without bad. You don't appreciate the sunshine without some rain. So that's the duality. And that's a part of universal law. So we're going to have periods of life where we have to do without to appreciate what we have. So all of you all have had the experience at some point where you were not able to physically do some of the things that you want to do. Maybe you were sick, maybe you injured yourself, but you were limited somehow. And it was during that time of physical limitation that you really had a greater appreciation for mobility, for the ability to go out and do what you want to do and work out and run and play and jump and sing and shout. When you have 102 fever and you feel like crap and you're under the covers for 2 or 3 days. So that's the duality. Many of us are experiencing duality because there's limitations in our movement. There's restrictions in what we can do. Our capacity to earn has dramatically shifted. Okay, so now we have a much greater appreciation for maybe some things that we weren't necessarily focused on before. The ability to go out, do events, meet people, put on a presentation, go into other people's homes, have physical contact and shake people's hands and build rapport and build and develop relationship face to face. All those things we're not able to do in the same way. So that's part of it. The cyclical nature. What goes up is going to come down. What goes down is going to come up. So if you look at the market, for example, there's a bear market and bull market. Bear market is a period of time of a couple of years where the market is going to go through a correction and you're going to take a hit. Bull market's going to be a little bit longer. Might go through a longer cycle, but it's a cycle, and it's not. It's going to pass. Okay. And that happens. We have these things called corrections in the market. So you have to be able to weather those storms. And many would say that the earth is going through a correction right now because obviously there have been dramatic spikes in cleaner air, cleaner water, less pollution because of the restrictions that have been placed at a global level. So there's some universal law at work when you understand universal law. You can see that, and you can be a little bit more objective about it. When it comes to your own personal journey, crisis, challenge, difficulties, it's the best way for each of us to learn some of the most important things about ourselves. It's the best way. I'll give you an example. So for many years, I was living in a very comfortable space. I was with my very first company, and I had achieved a certain level of success in that company, and I was earning a multiple six-figure annual residual income, and then bonus income on top of that. I was flying around the world. I was being picked up in really cool SUVs and driven here and driven there. And I just had a very comfortable lifestyle, and I was doing the things that I love doing, okay? And all of a sudden, that whole reality got turned upside down, because there were some financial things that took place within that particular company. They were not able to pay us. And then it was like, okay, it wasn't like a one-time thing. It was an ongoing period of time, months, where they couldn't pay us. And if you build your lifestyle around a certain income, You know, if you're, let's say you're making 30 grand a month and then all of a sudden it just goes away for several months. Well, that's what you call a wake up call. All right. Now, the interesting thing is this. I had already started to become a little more self-aware because I didn't really have a great relationship with my money. I wasn't very respectful of it, and I was very good at giving it away. So I just made these decisions to start having more better stewardship, being more careful with how I allocate those funds and then how I'm stacking the funds. So when this happened, I had already started to make a mental shift. So it was jarring, but it wasn't as horrible as it could have been. But I lost my equilibrium. My foundation had been pulled from underneath me and I had to regroup and regather. Now, I wasn't the only one going through that situation. There was a lot of people going through the same situation. A lot of people that had very significant incomes that were all of a sudden gone. And you get a chance to again find out who you are in the midst of crisis. All right. So imagine you have an income and then all of a sudden it's not 90% of it's gone, it's 100% of your income is gone, like gone, just like that. Okay. And then you got to figure out what you're going to do moving forward. We would call that a crisis situation. Because of personal development, this is why it's so important when we talk about your daily disciplines, the audios that you listen to, the books that you read, the conversations that you have with yourself and others, the visuals that you plug into, the goals that you have. It's all about this constant programming. Well, see, all of this personal development and all of the talk that we do in this business, it's just talk until it's tested. Okay, it's only talk until it's tested. And so I understood very clearly that I had an opportunity to put to work so many of the principles that I have been teaching for years. Not that I didn't live those principles, but I never had them tested at such a severe level as I did during that time. So I had to make some decisions, ladies and gentlemen. I had to make some decisions about, do I stand on principle and my beliefs and what I know is right, or do I focus on getting the paycheck? Because I had a choice to make. That particular company was willing to give me the money, not all of it, but to give me some of what they owed me. They were willing to take care of me, if you will, but I had to play along as if nothing was wrong. I had to play along as if I didn't know all the stuff that I knew and the people that weren't getting paid and the people whose lives had been ruined. Like, my life wasn't ruined at all. It was turned upside down. It wasn't ruined, but there were people whose lives were ruined, financially, just completely devastated. And I couldn't ignore that. I wasn't going to look the other way. I wasn't going to pretend that everything was hunky-dory, right? I can't believe I just said hunky-dory. Um, so I had to make a choice. And it was the easiest choice ever. It took no time at all. I just made the decision. And I understood that there was a price that was going to come with that. I understood that I was putting my family in harm's way financially. I knew that we were going to have some rough waters ahead. But in my head, I'm like, well, I've been there before. Like, I've been without before. I've been in far worse situations before. We'll just get through it. We'll figure it out. Because I believe that everything is figure outable. That's just what I believe. So, but that was an example of me having to be incredibly resourceful. Because you heard me say this, it's not about a lack of resources. It's about a lack of resourcefulness. So that situation forced me to expand. I had to be a lot more creative on how I was going to generate income. I had to figure out creative ways to bring money into our household so that we wouldn't have to just completely, turn everything off, okay, and maintain some level of equilibrium throughout that. But it was that situation that developed some other avenues of revenue that we now have as a permanent part of our portfolio. And I promise you, if that didn't happen, I never would have focused in other areas to make money the way that we did. I wouldn't have done it because I would not have had to. So that was one of the great gifts and the great blessings that came out of such a chaotic situation. And I share that story with you because I understand most of us are in a chaotic situation right now. Most of us had other revenue streams that have now been hindered, if not completely incapacitated, during this time. And it's a shit show. I get it. It's not easy. So, but it's the bigger that dynamic, that obstacle, the bigger the opportunity for growth. So I'm always looking for what's the growth in this. It doesn't mean it's not painful. It doesn't mean that you're not going to feel like crap. It doesn't mean that you're not going to have some inner battles you're going to have to fight. That's a fact. It just means that your job and your responsibility is to not only find the lesson, but to look for the ways that you can expand. Because you have two choices. You can lay down or you can get up so you can go up, right? You can get up and go up or you can lay down. You got two choices. Unfortunately, a lot of people are making the choice to lay down. They want to marinate in their misery. They want to be overrun by fear and doubt and anxiety. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to get anything from that. That is not going to get you what you want. That is not going to help increase your bank account. That's not going to help you be productive. It's not going to help you to be creative and developing other avenues to generate income while you're building your business. All right. So that's a part of understanding the cycles that we're in. Because I promise you this, if you had a choice between dealing with the pandemic and what comes with it versus, let's say, being abducted. Okay, if you're a woman on this call, you have a choice of dealing with what is or being abducted and sold into sex trafficking. I'm pretty sure you're going to say no, and I'll take the pandemic. I'll figure that out. But being sold into sex trafficking and having my body pumped full of drugs and no longer having any control over what I do or say, having my will stripped from me and having my body sold out as parcel, I'll pass on that one. If you had a choice between dealing with the pandemic or being subject to a what's the word? Genocide, being subjected to a genocidal attack where your entire culture is wiped out just because your culture is different than the dominant party's culture, and they're going to wipe you off the face of the earth, literally. I mean, they're just going to come up in your house, they're just going to kill you, and they're going to kill you in front of your family, and they're going to kill your family after that. And you got to figure out how you're going to survive in that madness. No home, no clothes, no money. You just got to survive. And then you got to come out on the other side of that. I'm pretty sure you're going to choose dealing with the pandemic, dealing with the loss of a business, dealing with not being able to pay some employees. I'm pretty sure you're gonna come up with that, some solutions in that dynamic. I'm saying this to say that every part of the globe has had to deal with some serious stuff. And even though this is a global pandemic in terms of the world is properly reacting to it and most of the world is taking proper precautions, it's not as extreme. It's not as extreme as the Spanish flu in the early 1900s. It's not as extreme as a genocide. It's not as extreme as being sold into slavery. It's not as extreme as those things. So it gives us some perspective on how we're going to navigate this space. And here's what I can promise you. There is no amount of your pity party, your moaning and groaning, your sadness that can lift anybody up. Your pity party, your moaning and groaning, and your sadness, it ain't gonna lift anybody up, especially not you. Again, you have a choice. You can choose to bring light to the situation. You can choose to bring joy to the situation. You can choose to bring a positive mental attitude to the situation. And is it going to be annoying to some people? Of course. Are some people going to say, well, you're being insensitive and I'm in a lot of pain. I just lost a loved one. We all lose loved ones. for many different reasons, beyond just COVID-19, for many different reasons. That's part of the life cycle. But it's how we respond to that. It's not that I'm not empathetic to people's situations. I've had personal connection with someone who has lost their life due to COVID-19. I'm sure many of you here have as well. It doesn't mean that I still don't show up every day with a positive mindset, that I'm not going to bring joy to the table. My focus is to lift up the situation. I don't want to bring down the situation. That's the easiest and lowest common denominator, is to bring it down. No, I want to bring the vibrational level up. I want to be a power source, because it makes me feel good. If I can make you feel better, then I feel better. I feel like I'm doing something proactive to counteract the situation. That's a choice. That's called leadership. Is it easy? No. It's not always going to be easy. Are some of you experiencing some things that you never imagined? You better believe it. Where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity in this crisis? That's why that Japanese word, it's the same. Crisis and opportunity mean the same thing in Japanese, because in every crisis there's an opportunity. Napoleon Hill said in every I'm going to mess up the phrase, but in every negative situation, there's an equal seed of positive that comes out of that situation. What can I learn from this? How can I get better because of this? How can I grow because of this? Are there other people who are growing exponentially during this same time? Are there other people in my company who are enrolling at a high rate, whose teams and businesses are growing at an exponential rate? Well, they're doing something. We're all in the same pandemic, but they're thriving. I'm not. What do I need to work on here? What I need to work on here? What internally do I need to do in order to cleanse my house and cleanse my mental house, to get my mind back on track? It's when you are at your weakest, ladies and gentlemen, that people are going to attack. When you're at your weakest. When you're in your business and it's not moving and it's going really slow, you will be attacked in so many different ways. When it's not clipping the way you want it to clip, you're going to be attacked. And so it's the nature. This is a universal law. All good is going to be attacked. And in business, that is when you are most vulnerable. This business is built on faith and vision. Mind sight, not eyesight, mind sight. It's built on faith and vision. When your faith is weak, that's when the piranhas are going to come out. They're going to come out. They're going to attack. So you just have to understand, it's part of the cycle that we're in right now. It will pass. I don't know that there's going to be as great of a growth opportunity for all of us as there is right now, though. Because there's something about being able to say, you know what? I was at a time when everybody around me was folding. They were folding. They were withdrawing. They were shrinking. I was expanding. And because of what I did during that time, because of the attitude I brought to the table every single day during that time, that's why it's 10 times easier for me to dominate now. Because I was able to dominate when it was the most difficult. It's an opportunity. It's how you're looking at it. So there's let me give you another example. I got a call. This was about 4 or 5 days ago. And it's a friend of mine in network marketing. And I've told you all I have some pretty good relationships in the profession. And my friend was calling me, who's in another company. He's doing a company called Melaleuca. And he calls to tell me about a new company that is launching in the Forex market. He says they're using the exact same model as because we did financial education. So Nadia, my partner, she trades, just so you all know, she likes to trade. So we did some financial education, and we learned some good stuff from that. And that company's doing really well. I got a lot of good friends in that company. He's like, they took that company's compensation plan, and they dumbed it down some more. He's like, all they did was they made the point of entry lower, and the monthly's the same. It's $100 a month, same as what we have. But he's like, he's basically just trying to pitch me on this deal, right? And he's going on and on about how he wants to make some serious money and blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay. I was like, good, man. I was like, I'm really excited for you. I'm really happy for you. And I said, and I asked him a couple questions. I was like, well, tell me about the owners. Like, what's their history? He couldn't tell me much about them. They have no network marketing experience whatsoever. This is what we call a money grab. Okay. A lot of times in network marketing, people will throw companies together because they know they can get people to join on the ground floor pitch. Hey, it's a brand new company. It's ground floor. You get in first, you're going to make a ton of money, blah, blah, blah. So the owners know this. That's why you have a lot of owners that have no network marketing experience. They start a company, they get in, they get out. They'll be around for 6 months, maybe 8. And then they're gonna take the money, and then they're done. The people that got into the company to build like something long-term, it's not gonna happen. They don't know any better. They're just gonna join because it's the hype model, right? That works. It's an effective model for a cash grab. So my friend was telling me, he's like, I'm going for the cash grab on this. He's like, I'm still going to build my Melaleuca business, but I'm going to do some cash grab on this right now because this is like, it's too good for me to pass up. I was like, cool. I was like, knock yourself out, bro. I get it. See, I understand that when people are under duress, they're not going to make good decisions. When I left my first company, I was initially disappointed because so many people stayed, because I couldn't understand, like, why would you stay in something that is morally and ethically wrong? But later, once I got past my emotions, I had to look back and say, hey, they needed the money. Like that was more important than anything else. I can't judge somebody because they're choosing to feed their family and look the other way on some moral and ethical stuff. Like, I can't judge somebody on that because that's a reality that people live every day. People work for all types of corporations that are, if you work for McDonald's, I got a friend that works for McDonald's Corporation. I make fun of him all the time because I'm like, that's not even food. And they're not putting anything good into the world in terms of what they do. I can't sign off on that, but I can't be mad at my friend for feeding his family. He's making a multiple 6-figure income working for McDonald's. I can't be mad at him for that. I had to have the same frame of reference for people that I was disappointed in when I left that first company. My friend who was calling me, like, this is his 9th or 10th company in 5 years. Like, this is what he does. Like, I know him. He's a hopper. He just hops. He can't sit still. He just has ADD when it comes to network marketing. He can't sit still long enough. And this is why he's never really broken in to the higher levels of income. He's always been, a $10 to $15,000 a month type of guy, closer to 10. That's just his range, because he doesn't understand what leadership, like leadership is. There's levels to it. He has enough understanding to do cash grabs, but that's his skill set. That's what he does. I wasn't offended that he wanted to pitch me on this. I let him talk. That's my boy. Like, I want to support him. I just want him to win. I want him to be successful. So just understand that people are going to behave in different ways because of the pressure that they're under. You got to give people grace. I get it. I understand. I've seen it. I've lived it in this space. So, but also be aware. I want all of you all to be aware that there are other people that are going to try to take advantage of your weakness. If you don't have a lot of belief and posture and confidence in what you're doing, people are going to prey on that. I've seen it a million times. Even when everything was going great, there were people that in my first organization, they were doing well and they left. They were doing well. When I say well, they were making a good $4,000 to $5,000 a month, and they thought they could make 15 to 20 a month if they went to a different company because it was a new company. I would love to be wrong, but I haven't seen anyone go and do that. All those people went to a company. The company was out of business in 6, 7 months. It was a company called Wake Up Now. So, but I understand, like I didn't judge those people. I wasn't angry with them. I said, hey, I appreciate the call. I hope you find what you're looking for. I want you to do well. Listen, you got to wish people well. You got to want people to be successful no matter, just because somebody doesn't want to take the road that I'm on, it doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't mean that I don't want them to do well. Like, that's cool. But you all have to understand, people are under a different level of pressure right now that many have not dealt with. And because of their lack of personal development, because of their lack of understanding, when your understanding is low, your anxiety is high. If you don't understand who you are, if you don't understand the principles and the foundation of success, long-term success and leadership, your anxiety is up here. Your understanding is down here. When your anxiety is high, you are susceptible. You are vulnerable for attack, and you will be attacked. So during this period of time, there's a greater delusional quality that comes into play. Because when I talk to people every day, they're listening to me, and they're listening to me like, who is this dude? When I'm doing my calls and I'm talking to prospects, my energy is like disturbing them. I can tell it's disturbing them. Well, see, if their energy vibration is really low, I'm getting off that phone pretty quickly, because that's not what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for people that want to marinate in their misery. I'm looking for people that want to be proactive and do something about their situation. And I know that the ones that I find now are going to be my aces. Because if I can find people now under these circumstances, I got something. It's easy to find and recruit people when the pandemic is over. I promise you, everyone's recruiting will be tenfold when everything is back to quote unquote normal. But what's happening now is that you're having bursts of recruitment, right? So our profession as a whole has gone up, because it's your belief. It's the people that have belief and confidence and posture in network marketing that are having success. The people that are not having success are the people who don't have the belief yet. And they're still being infected by the news and the energy and the anxiety of their surroundings. Leadership is not about being at the effect of the world. It's about you being the effect on the world. How do you affect the world around you? That's what leadership is about. So it's a different mindset, ladies and gentlemen. There are certain times when I will share some promotions, because I want you all to get plugged into the individuals that are winning at a high level right now in iBoomerang. I want all of you all to understand that no matter what's happening in the world, people are having success. No matter what's going on. Right now, in real time, people are enrolling into iBoomerang every single half minute. They're coming in. The question is, how do you position yourself to get some of that action? They're going to continue to enroll. People are going to continue to rank up. Incomes are going to continue to go up. The question is, how do you position yourself to be one of those people? It's by understanding these laws and these principles that I'm sharing with you now. It's by taking ownership of your delusional quality when it comes to your positive mental attitude, when it comes to your mindset about success, when it comes to your daily disciplines, when it comes to the energy that you bring to the equation. It's about you embracing that delusional quality wholeheartedly and walking in that space, knowing that people are going to look at you like, what is she on? Why are you so happy? You ain't been to work in 2.5 weeks. Why are you so happy? You can't even buy groceries. Why are you so positive about your business? What are you talking about? See, people are not coming at you like that. Again, you're not about to do anything special. What's the opportunity? Where is it in this space? I was taking some notes because I was listening to a call earlier, and one of the things that and I was trying to find the book because I thought we had the book, but we have the audio book, but I couldn't find the hardcover book. So who are you talking to? More importantly, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? Are you listening to individuals who have produced significant results in this business? Are you having intimate conversations with top leaders and top income earners in this business? Or are you talking to yourself? Or are you talking to other people that don't have those same type of results? See, no matter the dynamic that we're in, what's important is who you're listening to and what your power source is. I promise you that none of my friends, we don't, like the conversations that we have, it's all about the opportunities that we're creating. It's about the moves that we're making. It's about our income goals for April and then April and then May, and then what's the strategy for summer? Like, how are we going to increase during the summer? What are we doing to create more momentum in our organization? Like, it's a totally different conversation, totally different come from. If you're hanging around people and you're just sharing your fear and anxiety with those other people, it's like when a bunch of pigeons come together, they want to flock and hang out together. Well, nobody's going to elevate in that environment. That's why you got to focus on eagles. This is why I keep telling you all, listen, there are plenty of top income earners and leaders in iBoomerang, and there's even more outside of iBoomerang within the profession of network marketing. And all of them are having success right now. All of them are having some of their biggest weeks and some of their biggest months right now. Why? Because they positioned themselves for success before all this shit happened. And this is another opportunity for all of us to learn some things about, well, if I'm stressing at all during this time, it's not because of the pandemic. It's not. It's because of the choices that I made coming up to the pandemic. It's because of my lack of financial stewardship. It's because I didn't really focus on having a financial freedom account or building a significant residual income. Well, now I have the opportunity. What am I going to do with it? Are you willing to be vulnerable with your prospects and your guests that you're inviting to the presentation? Are you willing to tell people the truth about what you're doing and why you're doing it? Listen, I made some mistakes. I've had success, but that's the key word is had. I'm working on new success right now. I'm making better decisions right now. I'm planning for my 2025 right now. See, what I do today is setting up my 2025 so that I can buy more investment properties, so that I can buy more stocks, so that I can be in better position 2025, what I'm doing now. Because I didn't play this game 5 years ago. I was fully in the moment. I was spending money as fast as it was coming in. I've made some mistakes. That's why I'm doing iBoomerang. Are you willing to have real conversations with people, like in terms of your come from, and let them know what you're creating? Listen, there's two types of people. There are people that are thriving right now, and there are people who are not. Period. Everybody's dealing with the same stuff. Listen, when I saw that story, I'm gonna read it to you all. That's why I posted it. When I saw that story, and I'm reading this about the newest emerald, and the story says, let me pull this up. It says Abel has been in the U.S. for less than 3 years. He's been in this country for less than 3 years and drives a truck 70 to 90 hours a week for a living. He did not let that be an excuse for not building his business. He has been relentless in seeking coaching, developing his skills, and taking action. He's one of the top recruiters and one of the best closers on a three-way call. And he's got duplication going. And he's driving a truck 70 to 90 hours a week. That got me so fired up, I was like, oh. Does it mean that I don't have periods in my business where it's not moving the way I want it to? Of course not. Everybody's got that. It's your come from. It's what are you going to choose? How are you going to choose to move and respond? Is your ego bigger than your bank account? Are you more concerned about what other people are going to think just because you're on some hard times? Hard times don't bother me because I know who I am and what I'm made of, and I know where I'm going. The people that get overwhelmed during hard times is because they have no plans for their future. They ain't going nowhere. So they were already parked in their mediocrity. And now that that mediocrity doesn't pay them a paycheck anymore, they're done. Because they had no vision to begin with. Those are the people that get taken out emotionally, psychologically during times like this. Those are the people that are panicking the most because they got no vision. They have no faith. They don't really believe in themselves. They're not building for something in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, when you know where you're going, when you know your outcome, it doesn't matter. This is a detour. If I already have my destination of success locked in my GPS, just because the road is closed and I got to go a longer way around, I am not going to lose my shit because I got to go a long way around. It's a detour. It doesn't change the outcome. Until you understand that, then whatever is happening around you is going to control you. Do not let your mind run you. You must make the conscious choice to run your mind. If your mind controls you, you will be in reaction mode, you will be in overwhelm mode, you will be in anxiety mode, you will be in fear mode. But if you decide that I am going to run my mind, you get to choose your come from, your position, your passion, your power. You get to choose that. So here's what I'd like for you all to do. Answer me this question, okay? I want you to type yes. How many of you all have heard something or read something about the pandemic and the situation that we're in the last 24 hours? If you've heard something, seen something, or read something about the pandemic in the last 24 hours, type yes in the chat. Everybody putting in yes. Next question. How many of you have taken deliberate time in the last 24 hours to go into your affirmations, to read them out loud, to say them over and over again as it pertains to your success programming? In the last 24 hours, if you read through your affirmations and you stood up and you went through them, or you went outside and you did them, put me in the chat. This is good. That's what I'm talking about. Y'all actually are listening. You got me fired up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We got about 12, 13 people. Okay, that's a little more than a third of who's here. All right. Now, that's the difference between being a person of impact and influence or being a victim. you are deliberately taking time out to program your mind for success. You're focusing on your future. You're living in your vision. You're living in your future more than anything else. Spend more time on that. Why don't you go on a fast from news and noise and media and everything else and just focus on your mindset for success? So let me share something with you all about some of my personal challenges that I'm aware of, and it's been difficult for me to overcome some of these things. I was talking to Terrence of Terrence and Jody, newly married dynamic couple fame, and Terrence was asking me questions. He said, "Hey, I've reached out to 200 people, Ed, and I haven't." He said he left me a message that I haven't closed anyone. Then we got on the phone. I said, "What do you mean when you reach out to 200 people?" He said, "Well, I said, I have a message I send out on social media. It goes like this." I said, "Cool." I said, "How many of those 200 people that you talk to did you actually get onto a presentation?" He said, "About 25. I said, "Okay, great. How many no's did you collect from 25? He said, "I got 4. I said, "So you got 4 solid no's. You got 25 exposures, 4 solid no's, and you got 21 people that are in the funnel. Like no one has enrolled, but the other 21 didn't tell you no, right?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Cool." So then he's like, "I know," he said, "but I got some other stuff that, I'm still concerned about in terms of my sales and everything else." Yes. I'm hungry. Okay, well, wait till I'm done, man. You see I'm talking. So he's like, "I got some other stuff going on. I had this type of ratio when I was in sales." I said, "Well, you got to understand, Terrence, that this is a different dynamic. If I'm selling vacuum cleaners, either you want one or you don't. Now I can tell you, and I can look at your home, I can break down why you need it. I can give you a dynamic pitch and presentation. Either you're going to buy it or you're not. If I do that enough times, I'm going to get enough people to buy the vacuum cleaner. If I'm selling life insurance, same thing. If I'm selling lawn care service, right?" And he was selling something in the contributory space, giving, to different various organizations. That's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. You just go through the numbers, tell me yes, tell me no, tell me quit, gotta go. Well, see, in network marketing, it's a little bit different. The nuance is a little bit more layered because we're talking to people about changing their life. We're talking to people about life-changing income. We're talking to people about residual income, implementing a concept in their life structure, in their life fabric, that is something that they've never done before. So we got to simplify the approach. And so what Terrence and I did, I said, well, let's break down what you exactly do. Tell me exactly what you send, how you send it, what's in there. And what we discovered was that, hey, he's talking too much and he's putting too much information onto his prospects. It's overwhelming. It's too much. And we simplified it, we pared it down, and we found a way to make it simple so he could say less to more people and keep it moving. And he saw it because he called me and said, hey, I need some course correction, okay? That's a big part of our business. Ask for help. He said, I remember when you said, don't do anything a bunch of times without getting a result and without getting some course correction. So he followed that instruction because he's coachable, and I get a chance to save him more misery. Now he just can go through and be more efficient with greater clarity on what he's looking for, what he wants to attract, and then he gets onto it faster, okay? But out of that conversation, I said to him, hey, he's like, I haven't enrolled anybody in a while. I'm like, hey, I hit my streaks too. There are weeks, I haven't enrolled anybody in like 6 weeks. Like I have these streaks in my journey, but it's not new to me. Like I know how this works. Sandra and I had this conversation, and maybe we did it in front of the whole group, I can't remember. But we were talking about the fact that in your first 30, 60 days, you're enrolling like nobody's business because it's your first 30 or 60 days. It's easy to put in 30, 40, 50 people in your first 30, 60 days. But after that, it's like you got to re-up. You got to, because you've already gone through your phone list, so to speak, the names and numbers in your phone. And now you got to start expanding your reach into social media, meeting new people online. I still meet people out, even though, we're wearing a mask. I still will get a number and a name and a number. When people are wearing a mask, I'm still prospecting while I'm out. right? It's just a different dynamic. So I wanted to let him know this is just a part of the journey, bro. It's okay. You're on the right track. It requires a different set of muscles in terms of your spiritual and intestinal fortitude, your guts, and your capacity to say, I'm going to make this happen no matter what. There is no earthly force that is going to keep me from my outcome. I said to him, there's three things that have people winning. Okay? Terrence, do you remember what those three things are? The three things I told you. The difference between people who are having a lot of success, teams that are exploding right now, and teams that are not. Do you remember those three things I said?
Yes, it's belief, energy, and speed.
Belief, energy, and speed. That's it. Belief, energy, speed. Now we talked about belief, so you all understand how that is built. Here's what my friend doesn't understand. This is why he'll never be a top leader. This is why he's never going to make millions of dollars in the profession. Because he's looking for the cash grab. I'm building legacy. I'm building long term. When I invite somebody into my space, if I'm personally enrolling you, this is a lifetime relationship I'm building. It's even bigger than the company. It's bigger than iBoomerang. My prayer is always, I pray that iBoomerang can keep up with the quality of relationships that I'm building, with the quality of leadership that I'm developing. I pray that the company can keep up. And if they do keep up, we're going to make a ton of money for sure, but we're going to really leave a lasting imprint on this planet. That's my prayer. But I have no control over iBoomerang. I have a great relationship with Holton Buggs, our CEO and our visionary, our founder. And I trust him implicitly. I know he knows what he's doing. I know Edwin Haynes knows what he's doing. I know Mark Kithcart and I trust those dudes. They're going to get it done. I just want them, I'm going to do my part. I trust them to do theirs. But understand that when I bring someone into the fold, I'm thinking 20 years in. That's what I'm thinking about 20 years from now. How we going to look? How we going to be rolling? Here's my challenge. Here's been something I've been having a hard time with. There are certain messages that I've heard and I get it, but I don't implement it consistently. I'm going to say that again. There are certain messages that I've heard and I get it, but I don't implement it consistently. How many of y'all have ever had challenges being consistent in your iBoomerang business? Is it just me? Am I the only one? Have any of y'all ever had some challenges being consistent in your iBoomerang business? So there are some days where I'm a phone monster. I'm hitting 100 to 150 calls. I'm smiling and dialing. Other days, it's like 25 or 30 because I've allowed life to get in the way. I get distracted. There's this thing going. My mama needs me to go do this and go do that. And can I fix it? And I get distracted. There are certain days where I'm on my affirmations. I'm like, first thing in the morning, before I go to bed at night, my state is like, boom. Other days, I'm rushing. I'm late for a conference call. I got to do a Zoom here. I got to coach this person. And then I'm like, damn, I didn't even do my affirmations today. Well, I'm too tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Failing miserably. This has been my challenge, okay? It's been my challenge. So I'm sitting in my makeshift office yesterday because, like, if you could see the table now, it's my son's toys. It's like a mountain of toys and everything, right? So I don't even bother to try to work here. I do the Zoom, some of them from here, but my makeshift office is upstairs. I'm sitting in my makeshift office, right? And I get a message from one of the wealth building groups I'm a part of. And the message tells me that there's they're having like a live, live stream or something like that. There's like a quick conversation. So I get on, and my friend, one of my friends is on there. He's talking about these principles. Now, these principles that he's talking about are principles that I've been exposed to for years. I've heard this. I've heard it. And as he's going through it, I'm like, yep, right, okay, yeah. I've done this, but have I done it consistently? No. Have I done this deliberately every day? No. Okay, well, that's why he has what he has in his bank account and you have what you have in yours. That's why. Like, why is that, Ed? Why haven't you listened and implemented and been consistent? I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, sometimes we do stuff and there's no logical explanation why we're not doing better or doing more. Just listen. So I said to myself yesterday, I literally said, okay, Ed, you're going to submit. You're going to write this shit down and you're going to implement it. And every day you're going to come up and you're going to have a pad that you use every day. And you're going to go down your checklist every day and you're going to do exactly what he says here. Like, don't mess with any of it. Just do it. Now, I want you to understand, I have 3 very close friends. They all implement this and they all teach their respective organizations. They're in different companies, but they implement this, okay? And all 3 of them, all 3 are, listen to this very carefully, they're multiple 6-figure monthly income earners. These are 3 people that I'm very close to. They're all multiple 6-figure monthly income earners. So my friend was talking, he said, my next goal is $1 million a day. I said, okay. I'm taking notes. I'm going to share with you what this is. Number 1, write this down. You got to decide. You have to decide. Decide what your outcome is. If it's sapphire, great. Then nothing else matters until you hit sapphire. If it's diamond, ruby, emerald, great. Nothing else matters until you hit diamond or emerald or ruby. Nothing else matters. Decide. What is decide? The root word of is to cut off, right? Suicide, homicide, it's to cut off. There's no other options. So make the decision. Number 2, you got to write it down. Write it down. I am so happy and grateful now to be earning $15,000 a month in my iBoomerang business, May 31st, 2020. I am so happy and grateful now to be earning $10,000 a month in my iBoomerang business, June 30th, 2020. Write it down. Make it plain. Keep that ever in front of you. Now, you take that and then you put it where you can see it. So I think I told you all this. I have cards up on my boards, on my whiteboards, on my mirrors, all over the house. I am so happy and grateful now that I am earning this much income May 31st, 2020. I have that all over, okay? Write it down. Why? Because everything that your eyes see, now I'm stealing this from David. If you take the E off of eyes, what do you have? You have the word yes. Everything that your eyes see, you're saying yes to. Now, what's the phrase? Out of sight, out of mind. If you don't have it visually where you can see it, you're not going to reinforce it. So you're going through your affirmations, incantations every single morning, every single night, and you have what you've written down as your outcome everywhere where you can see it. Third, plan your work. So how many expos are you doing today? How many people are you going to prospect? How many presentations are you going to do today? Set up your calendar. So this is exactly what he said. If you're focusing on full-time income, you're doing 5 to 6 presentations a week. You, not what the company's doing, not what's on the Boom TV schedule. That's a given. Not the schedule that we have. We have presentations every day as well in our organization. No, you are doing 5 to 6 presentations a week. Put it on your calendar. Literally write it down like you write down everything else. That's how you set up your calendar, okay? So you're gonna have that plus exposures, 3 ways, YouTube presentations, I decide, whatever you prefer. Next thing. Here's the rule that we live by. I have not enrolled someone, whether they're coach or business or first class, until I've helped them enroll there too. So Shatita, who I enrolled, she enrolled a first class. I got to make sure and help her enroll her second one, because she doesn't count for me until I've helped her enroll her too. You understand? Okay? That's just the rule of this process. Next, drive the leg 4 levels deep and you're going to find a superstar. So for example, I enroll Shatita. Shatita enrolls Chris. Chris enrolls Stacy. So it goes Shatita and then Chris, that's second level. Stacy's on the 3rd level, and then we help Stacy enroll John. When you get to, by the time you get to your 4th level, you're going to find a superstar. Every time you drive a leg 4 levels deep, you're going to find a superstar. Every time you, so a leg is a new person that you personally sponsor. That's a brand new leg. You help them sponsor, help them, that person sponsor, help that person sponsor. Every single time you drive a leg 4 levels deep, you're going to find a superstar. Next, when you drive a leg 8 levels deep, okay, so you're going to double it. So you go from 4 levels to 8. Whenever you drive a leg 8 levels deep, it's going to produce business for the rest of your life. Every time you drive a leg 8 levels deep, it will produce business for the rest of your life. That's a fact. Any leg that I have ever driven more than 8 levels or more deep, always, it produces perpetually. I've never not had that happen. Desire, write this formula down. Desire plus skill times faith equals success. Desire. Are you hungry? How bad do you really want it? Plus skill. Terrence is cultivating his skills. Remember what we said. You plug into sapphires and above for course correction. Times faith. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to believe. It's your belief that's bigger than anything else. That's why some teams are thriving and other teams are stalled. It's belief equals success. So I wanted to share that with you all because I found that was a challenge for me. Believe it or not, I've known this, but I have not been consistent. And I can't tell you why. I think it's probably ego. Like, I know what I'm doing. I got this. I just do what I do. I build, I sponsor, I help them sponsor. But I'm going back to the basics. I'm just sharing this with you. This is kind of me talking to myself is what this really is. Just so you all know. It's really me talking to me. I'm just having a private conversation out loud in front of all of y'all right now because I'm holding myself accountable. It's not your job to hold me accountable. I got to hold myself accountable. But at least I've done it in a public forum so that you all, you know, whenever we talk, we'll have a real conversation. We'll have a real conversation. So I wanted to share that with you, and we'll talk about your DMO. Like really quickly, I'm just going to type this in the chat, okay? So here's what DMO looks like. This is what you do. DMO, daily method of operation. Okay? So we have daily personal development. We have TM, transcendental meditation. We have prospecting. We have presenting. I want y'all to see it. It helps me to write it. Presenting. We have promoting. You all notice that every day we got something to promote, right? Every single day we got something to promote. Daily inspiration calls, multiple presentations, Spanish, French, Holton bugs and Arlene bugs, certain coaching calls throughout the week that the company does. So some days you're going to be doing more follow-up. Some days you're going to be doing more smile and dial. We have team calls once a week, every Sunday. And then we have the flight school every Saturday morning. Some days you're going to do more social media time, prospecting and connecting in that space. Some days you might spend like an hour on customer acquisition. You're just going to be focusing on getting new customers, okay? But it's all a part of the IPAs that make up our daily activity. So then we have affirmations / incantations. So these are the IPAs, income producing activities, that make up our DMO, our daily method of operation, okay? You can take a screenshot of that however you want. I just wanted to make sure you had it, because our routines and then the consistency are everything, right? So for the directors and above group, we have a meeting every Monday and we literally just share our numbers. We share our exposures, we talk about experiences, we talk about course correction, because everybody in that group is focusing on that first level of 5-figure monthly income, all right? But that's the see, if you're consistent with these, then you're going to rank up and you can be a part of those groups that help your business go faster. So I encourage each and every one of you to just make sure that you're implementing the things that we're talking about and understand that this is a part of the dynamic of being an entrepreneur, of being someone that's taking the reins. And listen, you all, do whatever you got to do, okay? Like, I'm gonna support you. I want you to be successful. If you have to, you know, pick up a hustle job or do some other stuff, that's fine. Do what you got to do. We're all in the same boat. We're all in the same situation. Understand that there's a lot of money that you can make from your business, though. That's a fact. Like there's thousands of dollars you can extract from your iBoomerang opportunity if you're doing the activities, but you have to have the belief and the confidence and the posture. You cannot go to prospects and underneath is fear and doubt and anxiety. They'll smell it a mile away. You will not be in alignment. So take the time to get in alignment. So TM, Transcendental Meditation, is simply a few minutes of stillness every day. Not a long time. If you can do 2 to 3 minutes and you're just sitting still and you're just focusing on your breath, and that's it. And you're doing your best to clear your mind. Some of you, it's going to be the hardest thing that you'll ever do. I am guessing, I could be wrong, I'm guessing that if I ask Sandra to sit still for 2 to 3 minutes and clear her mind and be still, it's going to feel like a half an hour. I know how it is for me. I can imagine what it might be like for her, but I could be wrong. We'll find out. But that's the beauty of that process, right? And yes, need to. That's at the very. Oh, right. Yeah. Thank you. DPD. So transcendental meditation. I'll write that in there. Transcendental meditation. Meditation equals TM. That's all. It's just stillness. It actually helps. It impacts your energy levels throughout the day. It really works. And you can, some people do it later in the morning. Some people do it like early afternoon. They do it at the halfway point of their day. They just take a couple of minutes to be still so that you are running your day and your day's not running you. So just wanted to give you all some of that. Hopefully you got some good value from our time together. So much more to come, so much more success that is going to invade the pores of your consciousness because you're making these shifts and you're doing the right behaviors. So have an awesome and amazing rest of your Soulful Sunday. If you have the time, jump on to Earlene and Holton Bugs. They're doing their Our House to Your House right now. Continue to rise, ladies and gentlemen. Continue to embrace your vision and know the GPS, know the outcome, and know that it's done. As soon as you write it down and commit to it, it's done. You know you're going to get there. You know you're going to get there, right? You know you're going to get there, but this is just a slight detour. It's okay. Know where you're going. People are going to follow you when you have that capacity. When they know that you're building for something that's greater than just now, when they know that you're not panicking and you're focusing on legacy income, life-changing, forever income, that they will rock with you. They will go with you. I'm telling you, they will go with you, especially in the midst of a storm like this. So stay strong, stay up. We'll see you all next week.